Aston Martin Racing Managing Technical Partner Adrian Newey says he has been pleasantly surprised by the scope for innovation in F1's new for 2026 rule set. Newey has come on board at Aston Martin following his Red Bull exit to help establish the ambitious squad as a frontrunner for 2026 and beyond, focusing almost exclusively on the new chassis rule set that will be introduced at the same time as a heavily revised engine formula. For 2026, cars are becoming smaller and lighter as they move away from a heavy reliance on ground effect, with active aerodynamics aiming to further reduce drag on the straights, while still having reasonable downforce levels in the corners. According to Newey, the new regulations offer parallels with the last major rule change in 2022, which on the surface appeared to be much more prescriptive than the previous rule set, only for teams to come up with substantially different design philosophies at the outset. My thoughts on the 26 regulations are similar to what my thoughts were about the big regulation change for 2022, initially thinking the regulations were so prescriptive that there wasn't much left here for a designer. But then you start to drill into the detail and realize there's more flexibility for innovation and different approaches than first meets the eye, Newey told the Aston Martin website. I think there's a high probability that in 26 we'll see something similar to 22. There's enough flexibility in the regulations, and I'm sure people will come up with different solutions. Some of those will be dropped over the first 2 or 3 years as teams start to converge. Newey said introducing sweeping rule changes across both the chassis and power unit at the same time was slightly scary, with the big unknown factor being just how much 2025's tightest ever starting grid will be blown wide open again. Alongside aerodynamics and engine performance, the degree to which F1 teams are able to get close to the FIA's ambitious reduced weight limit has also been identified as a key performance differentiator. For the first time I can remember, we've got both the chassis regulations and power unit regulations changing at the same time. This is interesting and slightly scary, he said. Both the new aerodynamic rules and the PU regulations present opportunities. I would expect to see a range of aero solutions, and there could be variation in PU performance across the grid to begin with, which is what happened when the hybrid regulations first came in 2014. But having come from Honda's current partner Red Bull, Newey backs Aston Martin's new works manufacturer to hit the ground running with the 2026 power units. I've got a lot of trust in Honda, and a huge amount of respect for them, having worked with them before, he added. They took a year out of F1, and so to some extent they're playing catch-up. But they're a great group of engineers, and very much an engineering-led company. So Adrian Newey offers his thoughts on Formula One's 2026 regulations, predicting a wide variety of car designs on the grid. The biggest upgrades of the year are making their way to Imola, one of the most important GPs every single season, as it is the start of the European leg of Formula One races. We're going to try and cover every team. There's plenty of upgrades that will be coming here. We do know a lot of fact, but there are rumors as well that I do want to talk about. It's the 7th race of 2025. It's kicking off Europeans triple header, and it's always an upgrade frenzy in Imola. But why is that? Well, obviously, the logistics of most of the teams being in Europe, it really helps out in the cost of bringing upgrades to this race in particular helps out with this cost cap that we have. And it's an old school track. It's really tight corners, gravel traps, and it demands a lot of aero and grip. With it being a qualifying formula this year, it's going to be very important that teams get down on these upgrades as quick as possible. But with the track having slow speed, medium speed, and even high-speed corners, you can test out pretty much everything you've brought, whether it works or not. So right before I go into one of the most important GPs of the year, I wanted to thank you guys for support. Amazing per usual, you guys always make my day. It really helps me truly seeing you guys subscribe, like, and comment on the videos. I try to respond to everybody as quick as possible. If you're new here, please go ahead and subscribe. But let's get started. We're going to talk from the midfield and make our way up to the top 4 because each team has a little bit of something. I'm going to start with the teams that have the least amount of information, but I still think we're going to see some stuff here. So as of right now, Alpine and Williams have not actually given us updates on upgrades, but it would be a shock if we don't see something here from Alpine, as the team hasn't brought any upgrades this year. They definitely need an aero tweak or two, but it will probably only be put on Gasly's car, as Colapinto is coming in. Maybe teams are waiting for Spain as well, like these lower-end teams, that it won't cost them much if they don't bring an upgrade. So that's a possibility, man. We know Williams has changed pretty much all of their development for 2026 from January 1st. There are still some upgrades in the pipeline to give a little bit of card potential. I do know that they're pretty much only focused on 26, as that is a season that they expect to be up on the podium positions and winning, which is crazy to think. But when you look at a performance like Albon in Miami, Sainz was good too, but a couple of things cost him, like damage on the car and some, let's just say, miscommunications over the radio. That car is ridiculously fast, Eagleton. It's been running the same package pretty much the whole season. They've only tweaked the rear wing a couple of times. A great overall package. I think they're just going to do a bit of setup work throughout the season. They really want to put all their focus in 26. We won't see much from Williams. Maybe a Monza rear wing would be the most that I expect. But as of right now, nothing confirmed. But I still feel like they're hiding something. It can't just be a playing card the whole season. I don't think they're going to pull a Haas in 2021. Now, speaking of Haas, they are bringing a significant upgrade package in Imola covered by Motorsport IT. The goal of the package itself will be to mitigate the rebound problems. They've been having some issues, especially in the high-speed stuff, with porpoising. And while they have improved, we still continue to see these problems. They're very inconsistent on some tracks, like in China. They had an amazing GP through Ocon and Berman making his way throughout the whole grid. Their race pace is pretty solid, but their qualifying pace has always been lacking, and it's especially in the high-speed stuff where the car suffers the most. It's probably also that they've stuck with the same front suspension that the previous Ferrari had, and that car struggled in high speed. So possibly a mechanical issue, and we'll have to see how much this new significant package actually solves. As for RB, there is supposedly a huge floor upgrade, as well as some tweaks to the diffuser, which always goes side by side. Chashu. And there are rumors also of a front wing coming here. The team has slowed down a bit in China. They were extremely quick, same with Japan. But since then, they've been a step behind their competitors. Williams has definitely been the midfield car, if you can even call it that. That has been turning heads. RB was there at the start of the year. They were very conservative on their approach in the winter season. This is supposed to be a pretty big upgrade to actually unlock a decent amount of performance. Let's see if it helps out Liam. He definitely needs it. And Isaac has been doing a good job. A very underrated driver in this season. You gotta give him props. So drop a comment down below. Who do you think is going to benefit most? Please leave a like, subscribe,